The filibuster is one of the most misunderstood, overhyped, and politically abused tools in American politics. Now, here's the thing: the filibuster wasn't some grand idea of the founding fathers. No, 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 no. It's not even in the Constitution. It's not sacred. It wasn't written by Madison. It wasn't written by Hamilton or Jefferson. In fact, the filibuster was basically an accident. See, back in the days, both the House and the Senate had rules that simply let a simple majority end debate and take a vote. Meaning, we got the power, y'all get over there and shut up, and we just gonna get to the vote. Now, majority rules, that's literally democracy, right? That's democracy, the democracy y'all claim y'all live in, even though we live in a constitutional republic. But we could have that argument another day. I know, I know. But in 1806, the Senate made a quote, small change. They dropped that rule, not realizing they just opened Pandora's box. That teeny tweak meant any senator, regardless of power or not, could stand up and keep talking and talking and talking, stalling a vote, blocking progress, wasting time, like Cory Booker in the most recent memory. And by the mid 1800s, senators realized, yo, this could be a weapon. And they started using it, not to debate policy, but to delay power. 1841 is believed to be the first real filibuster. I mean, we can't really confirm that date for sure, but by then, the tone was set. Obstruction was now part of the Senate game. Fast forward to 1917, and President Woodrow Wilson is pissed. He's heated. See, a small group of senators are blocking his plan to arm ships in Europe for World War One, right? So they're like, yeah, nah, we just gonna stall. So Wilson's allies introduced Rule 22, the cloture rule. Now, see, this basically says if 2/3 of the Senate, and which is a supermajority, votes to end the debate, the filibuster stops. We're done. The jig is up. Time to vote. That's the birth of the modern filibuster. But here's the truth: it wasn't used that often. The Senate still treated it like a last resort until it wasn't. Because then came the 20th century, and the filibuster became a weapon for the worst kind of politics. See, Southern senators, the same ones defending segregation, used the filibuster to block every major civil rights bill that hit the floor. They weren't protecting democracy, they were protecting Jim Crow, and this went on for decades. But then came 1975. Democrats, working with Vice President Nelson Rockefeller, decided to reform the rule. They lowered the cloture threshold from 2/3 to 3/5. Don't get triggered, black people. It's not the 3/5 compromise. You can calm down. That's 60 votes. They also created a two-track system, meaning the Senate could keep on debating and talking about other things while a filibuster dragged on in the background. Sounds efficient, right? We're human beings. Of course, it's not going to be sufficient. Of course, it backfired. Instead of reforming it, they made it easier to use. Now, senators didn't even have to stand there and talk all night. They didn't have to do that anymore. They didn't have to sit there babbling like Jimmy Stewart and Mr. Smith goes to Washington. All they had to do was threaten a filibuster, and the whole process froze. By the late 1900s, filibusters were happening all the time, from budgets to nominations to random bills, random personal things that senators wanted to push through, and opposing senators said no. It became a normal tool for political warfare. Then let's fast forward to the year 2013. We all know who was president. Democrats under Harry Reid got fed up with Republicans blocking President Obama's judges. So they pulled what we call the nuclear option, removing the filibuster from lower court judges and executive appointees. But nah, nah, nah. Then came President Trump, and we all know when it comes to Trump, it's always resist no matter what. But in 2017, Mitch McConnell and the Republicans said, cool, we'll finish the job. They got rid of the filibuster for the Supreme Court nominations, clearing the way for Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett. So now the filibuster still exists, but only for legislation, not judges, not cabinet appointees, just bills. And what started literally by accident is now one of the most powerful tools in Washington. Now let's talk about this right here, right? We're in day 31 of a government shutdown. The economy is tight. Inflation is biting just a little bit, not a lot, but it is being managed. And the people who actually keep the country moving, we're talking about the TSA workers, we're talking about air traffic controllers, soldiers, single parents working federal jobs, they're all hurting right now or about to hurt. Meanwhile, your politicians, they're playing procedural games. Democrats are using the filibuster to leverage funding for things like expanded Affordable Care Act subsidies, money for illegal immigrants, and global initiatives that got nothing to do with American families. They're trying to starve you out this Thanksgiving season. And then they hop on places, they hop on CNN, X, TikTok, Instagram, and lie to your face, talking about they're fighting for the people while they're literally holding the people hostage. But y'all want socialism. The next time you see a black person advocating for socialism, remind them of 40 acres and a mule. You know that moment in history where President Andrew Johnson, a Democrat, reversed General Sherman's Special Field Order 15 and issued an amnesty proclamation that restored Confederate property, leading to the eviction of freed people who had been granted land and forcing them to return to their former enslavers. That reversal denied formerly enslaved people the economic independence that land ownership would have provided. But y'all want the government involved. Yeah, let's get the government involved. And President Trump, right now, he's calling for the nuclear option again to break the stalemate. And you know what? Let's be real. That just might be what it takes. Because at this point, the filibuster ain't promoting debate, it's promoting dysfunction. So let's keep it 100 here. The minority party using the filibuster to block the majority isn't democracy, it's gridlock. Because guess what? If it was just about a simple majority, if we got back to basics, what the original purpose of the Senate and the House was, we wouldn't even have a filibuster. And while they posture for the cameras, real families are suffering. History keeps repeating itself. The filibuster blocked the Civil Rights Act in the 60s, Medicare in 1965, the Voting Rights Act. And it was also used to stop anti-lynching bills, to hold up war measures, and to stall confirmations for years. Every time someone says they're reforming it, it just means they're mutating it into something else. So here's the truth. The filibuster started as an accident. It was a weapon. And today it's a crutch, a way for politicians to hide from accountability. They say it's about protecting tradition, but the only thing they're protecting is their ability to do nothing. While you're out here trying to make ends meet, they're debating the debate itself. So next time you hear a senator talking about preserving integrity of the Senate, remember that's code for stalling the American people. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your politics fix.